Welcome, Internet, to the PixelPlay Sidequests, your weekly bonus episode available exclusively on YouTube.com. This week, we are coming to you with another Untimely review, where we review games on our own dime and on our own time to bring you Untimely reviews. This week, Adam is coming to us with another game, this one, Granblue Fantasy Relink. And with that, Adam, tell us more about the game.
So yeah, those who are very familiar with mobile games, you've probably come across this gacha game before. It's called Granblue Fantasy, made by Cygames. They've been doing a lot of different content with this license recently. They've actually put out two 2D fighting games from Arc System Works, the same guys who do Guilty Gear, BlazBlue. They did the Persona fighting games. What else have they done? Why am I blanking? There's one more that it's just, not important. It's too late. It's already too late. But they're a pretty big juggernaut in the 2D fighting sphere, so they've used this license for a couple. And now with Relink, they've come out with a game that what I can best describe is if Final Fantasy XIV decided to just do a third-person like hero brawler. Now,
I like that.
It has a single-player campaign, which is what I'm reviewing. I haven't played the multiplayer because I don't have anybody that can play the game with, and I don't like playing with random people anymore, unless it's Helldivers, and I still rarely play with randoms. But I played through the campaign. I got around to clearing that. It took about, want to say somewhere around the 15-hour range. Wasn't too taxing. I gotta say, I had concerns about this game when it originally was in production, because I wanted something like that. It's a really cool license. I like a lot of the character designs. I'm a big anime guy, so of course I am. But the anime itself, because I've seen that, I have played the mobile game, I've obviously played the fighting games. The character designs are insanely good. I love them. And I've always wanted to play something a little more in-depth. Because fighting games are not really my thing. I'll play them, but I don't play them too much. Mobile games don't mean anything. I can't even tell you the last time I've played a mobile game. It's been a long time, because I don't use my phone for that. So when this game was announced, I want to say I first heard about this 6 years ago. By the way, this game has been in production for 9 years. So it was one of those cases where, it was in development how much like Hogwarts Legacy, and you just assume it's probably going to suck when it comes out. But thankfully, I got my hands on this game. It's really fun to play. I'm not going to lie when I say I was impressed right off the bat how good it is. And the key selling point, well, there's two key selling points. One, the visuals. It's a very visually striking game. It's not high-end graphics, but it's very well crafted that it doesn't need to be, and it looks really good for what it is. And then the second part is the combat. The combat is so much fun to play. I'm going to switch the video feed to our main podcast feed, which has a YouTube feed. We normally don't do it on SideQuest, but for this, it makes sense. It's better if you just see what it looks like. And you're not in the story mode. You don't play as the character you see on screen. This is when you in the later parts of the game, or you play a multiplayer. And maybe you can play as that character. I just never bothered to, because it makes sense to play the hero, because it makes canonical sense. But there are, I want to say, anywhere between 14 to 18 characters that you can unlock. Some of them are much later. You start off with, I think it's 6 or 7 different characters, because it's the main because the game doesn't start at the very beginning. It starts off assuming that you've played part of its story from either the mobile game or the anime, so it gives you a good set of cast of characters from the start. But there are some that you unlock later on with these tickets that you earn through the story, or I assume once you play the multiplayer parts of the game that you can earn later on. You can just unlock everybody. And they all have their different types. Some of them are magic-based, some of them are defense-based, some of them are really heavy attack-based, some of them use swords, some of them use staves, some of them are spears, some of them has a whip or a chainsword, kind of like what Ivy Valentine does in Soul Calibur. So they have a nice variation to them. And the gameplay really meshes well with that, because each character feels very different. Even though I never played the multiplayer part of it, they always, when you unlock a character, give you the chance to play a training mode just to mess with them. And they're all really unique, and their moves are all very crisp, and they combo well together. I don't feel like there was one character that I unlocked. I didn't unlock all of them because I didn't obviously play the full game. But the ones that I unlocked, I think I did another 7 unlocks. And I looked at all of them and went, yeah, I would totally play as this character. They're fucking fun ass to play. There's a ninja character that was holy shit, I can combo the fuck out of everything with this. The basically Dragoon that I unlocked was really cool in the way that you can avoid a lot of damage using obviously the jump sort of builds that it has. Everything that I played seemed really, really neat. And no matter the entirety of the game, I never felt Like I was playing the same thing over and over again. The only exception to that rule is they do bring back a couple of bosses repeatedly, and there are these side quests that you do that are basically similar to what the multiplayer experience is, where you just replay the same missions where the same boss is at the end and you grind XP out, which I didn't do because I'm like, I just want to finish through the story. And by doing that, didn't need to grind very much. I maybe did 5 or 6 of those side missions, and most of them were just because the prize was one of those party unlock cards, and I just wanted to unlock somebody else. So I did those, and it was fine. Like, nothing over the top, but nothing great either. But the actual story itself, it's passable. Like, it's your basic story where enemy takes something that you want and is trying to destroy the world, so you gotta go stop them, blah, blah, blah. It's fine. Nothing special about it. Again, the combat is what sells it. And by the end of the game, I felt like the time didn't drag. I felt like I got my money's worth out of it. And by the end of it, like, I felt like I was having a blast because, you know, once you really get a handle of things, it becomes real fun, like, just seeing, like, how much you can completely overpower something. And I can only imagine if I had gotten the chance to mess with some of the other characters, what I would have gotten there. And it would have been really interesting. I wish that I had people to play it online, maybe somewhere down the road if it ends up being free on PlayStation so that more people can get around to touching it. Maybe I'd go back and see and maybe like pull a couple of friends, because I was playing it in a Discord with a couple of people and they said like, holy shit, like I would totally play this game. And then they saw how much it costs and they went, not right now. So, because I can't justify it for $70 for a lot of people. So I wouldn't say that. I'd say, again, like, this is a half off kind of game for most people. If you're into the series, this is a no-brainer. This is easily the best Granblue Fantasy game out there, and it's not even close. And I haven't even touched the multiplayer aspect. I can't imagine what it's like when you're playing with friends and you're going around like playing much more hard stuff, because it has a bit of that like Monster Hunter feel to it, not in terms of like spending 30 minutes on a single enemy level gameplay, but in the sense of having a couple of friends and just going out and just slashing the shit out of a bunch of stuff, you know? And I think it's really good. And I think with the characters being as diverse and as unique as they are, that you can master one, and then if a friend of yours really wants to play that one, just go pick up something else and you can jump right in real easy to that. And the enemy variances aren't copy-pasted as much as like a lot of games seem to do, where there's like, here's a goblin, but here's 7 different versions of said goblin. Isn't really a thing. Like, they have for each world its own set of enemies, and none of them are really copy-pasted. It has its own specific boss. It has its own specific mini-bosses. The only time anything gets reused is at the final part of the game, where they essentially steal the bosses and re-summon them because they're the summons in the game that you have. Like, there is a Bahamut in that game, and the Bahamut in this game is fucking badass. But the game will reuse some of these summons as like your towards the end, and has like your other final boss battles. And they're copy-pasted. It's fine. Like, it's not great, but reused assets are not exactly uncommon with a lot of games. But like I said, short campaign, doesn't take a lot. I think the multiplayer has a lot of potential. I just never got around to trying it. And I don't think it's insulting. Like, even for the price tag, like, I don't think it's an insulting price tag to ask for full price, but I think you would have to assume you're going to put the multiplayer into it to really get your money's worth out of it. As if you were just going to play it for single player, I'd say $40 is a really solid price for this game. And I think even for Kaylan, who I know isn't big into anime content, you may still have your issues because there is always something to nitpick with this stuff, but I think the gameplay actually is a good selling point. I think this is a really fun game to pick up. So, like, if it ever popped up on PlayStation Plus Extra, I'd say, look, if you can spare a month of it, give it a shot. Like, that would be my way of selling it. I don't know if you would wholeheartedly love it because the tropes exist, but I think the gameplay can really sell people on a lot of stuff, because I had a lot of friends who know nothing about this franchise and went, I don't know what I'm looking at, but it looks really fucking fun to play. And that was the big key that I would take out of this, is that it's a really fun game to play, and that was the core of it. I give it a 5 out of 6. I think it's just a really solid third-person brawler, and I really hope that somewhere down the line it's either on PlayStation Plus or a Game Pass, somewhere where you can get it for really cheap, and that way it kind of enhances the multiplayer part of it, because I'd love to go back and mess with this game again and play some of the characters that I really didn't get the chance to unlock, or even just really mess with.
Very cool.
Yeah,
It'll
very
be something
cool.
I'll keep on my radar, and, you know, if I get time and it's available, I'll definitely give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, are there
Cool.
any questions that you guys have just from the footage that you've been seeing, or anything that I haven't mentioned yet that kind of gets you curious? Oh, by the way, I never mentioned it before, but Nobuo Uematsu had some role in the initial. I don't know if he did it for anything in this game, but he had a big part of some of the initial themes with this franchise that they did carry over. So, just a little fun fact for Chris there, because I know that'll get his attention.
Instant buy. This game is now an instant buy. It was on my radar. Now it's an instant buy.
Also, if I can entice you more, I'll go back to the main screen here. Chris, what you're looking at is in the middle, Cloud, but if it was a Lalafell.
It is. Oh my god, it is.
And she's amazing.
Oh, that is amazing.
awesome.
I can't lie. That footage where there was some giant eye flying monster, it was on fire, spinning in a circle with a laser shooting out of its eye across the entire battle arena area. That was mayhem, and I wanted to play that. I had in my head I would have just picked up a controller and started playing that. So
yeah, it's definitely a really fun game, and it again, even the worlds that they have, you don't spend too much time in each of them, so they don't ever really fall flat. Like I said, the only real nitpick is that the story is like very mid. Like there's nothing special about it. It's very plain. And I will also say too, play it in Japanese for the voice dialogue. Not because again, like actually in this case, the voice acting in English is okay, but the voice acting in Japanese, especially with there's this little dragon mascot. It's I can't imagine playing the game without it in Japanese, because the voice actor for that specific little mascot character is so perfect. Like they do the adorable voices better than any other language can do. And I don't know what it is about the Japanese language, but like either like child characters or like, you know, like the tiny fuzzball mascot characters, they don't translate very well in English. I don't know what it is. Like no one can really do that really high pitched like cute voice very well. Whereas Japanese, it just seems to flow. Like, they can do it no problem. Like, it's nothing, and it's weird to me. But yeah, I strongly recommend the game for anybody who's into anime-based games. If you're into either single-player or multiplayer brawlers, they're all, like, really good options. And if you're on the fence, yeah, I'd say wait, see what happens, see if it drops to, like, that $30 range, if you're US, $40 range Canadian, even lower than that. Or if it straight up just gets put on one of the streaming service, because I think, let me just quickly Google it. I don't remember what systems it's for right now. It is at this PC. Point. Okay, so it's just Steam and then PlayStation. So maybe somewhere down the road it gets Xbox, but otherwise, like maybe it goes really cheap on a Steam sale someday, or maybe it plops up on PlayStation Plus Extra, like I said. If that ever happens, I'd say pop in and take a look at it no matter what. But that only depends unless you're like Kaylan and you're not sure how you feel about anime tropes, that might be the one thing blocking you out, because it is very anime. But that's about it.
Cool.
Sweet. Well, yeah.
We'll
this is on my radar now.
Cool. And we hope you're on our radar. If we are, you can check us out every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever you get your podcasts, or we do this every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much. Hit the like, hit subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.